Namaskar, this is Akhilesh Bhargav. Welcome to Tidbits on Business and Finance with me. As India's NPA crisis remains unresolved, the reality is that corporate India continues to be littered with a lot of giant frauds and scams which are yet to surface for the simple reason that investigation in many of them continues. The CBI continues to investigate cases, so does the ED, so does the SFIO, so does the Income Tax Department and the DRI. And as time passes by, we see many such cases continue to surface. The last list of big frauds that we found were those of DHFL, Yes Bank, Jet Airways, CG Power, and now comes another giant case. After a year-long investigation conducted by the Enforcement Directorate, it has issued what is called the biggest ever show cause notice to a company in India. And it is a notice for violations to the tune of 7,220 crores by this organization called Sri Ganesh Jewelry House. The ED notice says that this company has exported goods to this amount, 7,220 crores, and has not brought back those export proceeds from abroad. In other words, blatant hawala took place. It further says that these exports that went abroad and the money did not come in represents money, funds, assets being held abroad by the promoters of Sri Ganesh Jewelry House, which is in stark violation of the FEMA provisions. You cannot hold assets abroad without an RBI approval. It then says that it got involved in unauthorized forex transactions, and by doing all this company has willfully siphoned funds abroad to this big an amount. Of course, as per the ED, this is the biggest ever show cause notice issued so far, but we are sure as bigger frauds get unearthed, probably you might soon have bigger notices being issued by the Enforcement Directorate. This organization is a dubious one. It is known to be a fraudulent organization. The CBI has already charged it for cheating banks to the tune of 2,670 crores. It has taken loans from 20 nationalized banks and 5 private banks by way of working capital limits for exports, by way of discounting of export invoices, and has not repaid the same. CBI says that's a fraud committed by them on these many banks. This company is listed as among the top 100 willful defaulters in India by the Reserve Bank of India also. And the DRI had in the year 2018 arrested one of its promoters, Nilesh Parekh, on charges that the company imported duty-free gold and it has not exported the same. That's part of the commitment. And it says that 1,700 kilos of duty-free gold which was imported has not been exported, supposedly having been sold in the local markets in cash. He was arrested. The case goes on. The ED is chasing the company and its promoters on charges of money laundering. The Income Tax Department has also filed charges of tax evasion against the company and its promoters. The question is, how did such a fraudulent, dubious organization get created, and how did it become so big? So big that it has exported goods to the tune of 7,220 crores and not brought back the money. Let's look into it. This company was formed in the year 2002. It claims to be engaged in the business of manufacture and export of gold jewelry, and that is done from its units which are located at an SEZ near Kolkata. It has units at the SEZ at Manikanchan, and from there all these exports have gone. Over the years, because of this kind of an export performance, the company was awarded handsomely by way of export performance awards by various government agencies. But now when we look at it, it was all a fraud, it was all a bogus situation. What has been the modus operandi of this particular fraud which now the ED is talking about? Let's look at it in sequence. Such an organization prefers to set up its manufacturing units in an SEZ. Setting up a unit in an SEZ means you get income tax benefits. It's a tax-free income. You are also allowed to import gold on a duty-free basis without paying customs duty. And these kind of exports also get priority for bank loans. Thus, the most preferred location for this kind of a business is an SEZ. And that is what they did. They set up units on paper at least at Manikanchan near Calcutta. Now with the help of these units, the company starts exporting at least on paper and starts building a performance. It starts showing rising exports, rising sales, and rising profits, knowing very well that it doesn't need to pay any tax. And by doing that, now the company is eligible for bank loans, and the company is also eligible for importing gold without paying customs duty, and that is where the bounty lies for it. Now that the company had a track record of sales, profits, and exports, it got onto the next phase. It set up its own subsidiaries abroad in territories like UAE, which is Dubai, Singapore, and Hong Kong. It is with its own companies abroad that it started conducting export sales, obviously bogus. This is what a Nirav Modi had done, this is what a Mehul Chokshi had done, and this is what the Parekhs of Sri Ganesh Jewelry House also did. These subsidiaries become a key element in ensuring that you have a seamless and smooth conduct of exports on paper. With these bogus exports which are rising on a year-to-year basis, the company was eligible for more and more bank loans and also for more and more imports of gold on a duty-free basis. This gave it a huge cash flow. The company was importing gold on a duty-free basis, and it imported gold to the tune of about 35,000 kilos plus. This gold, in all probability, never got exported. The company is known to have started selling the gold in the local markets in cash. This was large profits for the organization. After all, the gold was bought without paying customs duty, and it was sold in the local markets in cash for a premium. This was, in fact, the real illegal business of the organization. This illegal sales in cash actually gave it a lifeline, actually gave it huge cash flows, but it also got cash flows because of bank loans. Its bank loans were never meant to be repaid, and thus they were pocketed, and hence the CBI charge that the company has duped banks to the tune of almost 2,700 crores. This entire channel of subsidiaries abroad and units in SEZ now gave the company a platform to start indulging in bogus exports on behalf of others. But what was done? It became a Hawala operator. Anybody who wanted to remit money abroad illegally would get in touch with this company. Gold was bought in local markets and actually exported, but it was exported to be handed over to the person concerned abroad, thus providing a large Hawala channel. This also became a profit center, an illegal profit center for the promoters. This kind of conduit must have been used by many others and not just this organization. Such a situation, such a platform, such a channel gets created only by collusion. The bankers colluded in some way or the other. The auditors colluded. The customs authorities colluded. The SEZ authorities colluded. Because that is how duty-free gold that was brought into the SEZ was taken out without the exports taking place. Normally, these kind of organizations and their promoters, they scoot away after a certain point of time. Unfortunately, the authorities did get in motion earlier in the day relatively. They got into motion, and the promoters have not been able to run away. They are now facing the action of the agencies. From this modus operandi that we have discussed, it's very clear that this was not a brilliant fraud or a scam. There was no sophistication in it. It was a blatant one. And it happened because all those who are meant to be preventing this kind of a fraud colluded. It raises a lot of very obvious questions, and it also makes it clear how blatant it was. The first one, the company was exporting goods to its own subsidiaries, its own entities abroad. Why did the bank not do any kind of a due diligence to understand that these are not genuine exports? They are going to their own entities and subsidiaries abroad. And if the bank was aware of it, then why did it not take any action against these kind of bogus exports? So the first one, it is apparent it was blatant because the bankers were willing to keep quiet. Either they were negligent, or they were fraudulent, or they were corrupt. But the first question that comes is, why were the exports to the wholly owned subsidiaries not stopped right in the beginning? The second one, 7,220 crores of uncollected exports whose money has not come back to India does not take place overnight. This amount has got accumulated over years of exports that got done and the money did not come back. Normally, export receipts as per FEMA regulations have to be received within 180 days of their export. And here we are talking about exports over the years, the money not coming back. It is the authorized dealer. It is the bank which is supposed to keep a track record and raise a red flag, inform the Reserve Bank of India, which in turn would inform the Enforcement Directorate. Why did the bank not raise the red flags when uncollected export receivables were mounting day after day, year after year? The third issue, which is again pointing how blatant it was, is that the DRI said in the year 2018 that 1700 kilos of gold was imported on a duty-free basis and was not exported. It was missing. It was actually sold away in cash in the local markets. Somebody in the SEZ colluded, because SEZ authorities are required to keep on a check on these kind of duty-free imports. They allowed the gold to be taken out of Manikanchan. Yet another very atrocious collusion. The bank again was negligent. It was not verifying the stocks which were hypothecated to it. It was not keeping a check on the receivables which were hypothecated to it, and it never bothered to verify whether the exports were genuine or they were bogus. So yet another collusion conducted by the bank. And after all this takes place, what we now notice is that the ED have been able to attach assets only to the tune of 175 crores. The company and the promoters have duped banks with tune of 2700 crores. As per the ED, 7,220 crores of exports have gone abroad and the money has not come back. We are, in other words, talking about 10,000 crores at stake. What has been found out so far by the ED is only 175 crores. Where did this giant sum of money go away? People in the system have let it go away, and that needs to be seen. So we have a standard conclusion. Collusion by everybody let this kind of a giant fraud take place. And that collusion would have certainly occurred under the protection, under the patronage of some godfather. Otherwise, these kind of large frauds do not happen. Such frauds happen because they continued for too long and therefore they became too big. And to us, it deserves too big a punishment for all those who colluded. Let's see where does the investigation lead to. This is Akhilesh Bhargav signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
हमारे घरों में भी बच्चे होते हैं जो हमसे प्यार दुलार की आस करते हैं।
हमारा भी जीवन साथी है जिसको हमारे ड्यूटी से घर आने का इंतजार होता है।
हमारे घर में भी एक बूढ़ी माँ है जिनके लिए आज भी हम ही आंखों के तारे हैं।
लेकिन हम हमारे घरों में नहीं हैं। आपकी सुरक्षा में कोई कसर न रहे, इसलिए हम अपने प्रियजनों से दूर हैं।
हम में से ही कुछ तो अब इतने दूर जा चुके हैं कि वो वापस अपने घरों को लौट भी नहीं पाएंगे।
हमें गर्व है कि हमारे कंधों पे मुंबई शहर के नागरिकों की सुरक्षा की जिम्मेदारी है। हमारे जज्बे और बलिदान को व्यर्थ न जाने दे। इस संकट के समय में आप घर पे रहे, सुरक्षित रहे।
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.
If you like this video, please share it, and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, well, subscribe to our YouTube channel.